All right. Hi, everyone. Hopefully, our live is working. I'll give everyone just a few seconds to kind of pop on. Um, so just so you know, this is my monthly card night. I host it the second Tuesday of every month. And so I do have little kits that you can purchase and follow along with the projects. They are $15 each or free if you place a $35 order this month. And if you haven't gotten one of them, I still do have a couple extras. So you can always order something and get one for free and kind of follow along the video later. But I do still post the videos just for everyone to enjoy. So you can always substitute out some of the products that I'm using with things that you might own. So, oh, there we go. Hi, ladies. I see a few of you popping on already. So feel free to use the chat and just say hi, ask questions. If I don't get back to your question, it's just because I'm kind of looking down and I'm not seeing the chat in the corner of my eye, but I will absolutely get back to you after the video if I've missed anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 projects tonight, as well as just a couple announcements for you. And if you have any questions about anything, let me know. I'm more than happy to go over things. Because most of the people watching have received my little kit of pre-prepped materials, so I've cut all the paper and scored things and everything for them, I will be going a little quicker. So if you're starting from scratch, you probably will have to just come back and watch the video again. But it's also nice just to maybe enjoy the night with us, and then you can always remake any of the cards that kind of pique your interest. So before we get started, I do want to highlight a couple special things that are going on right now. The first being our starter kit deal. So a lot of you guys are amazing crafters who I know you love buying things here and there for yourselves. So one thing that I do really encourage some of my really good customers who kind of consistently are buying things to consider is one of the starter kits, and that means you get to join my Stamping Up team. You get sneak peeks of upcoming product, but the biggest thing is you get a 20% discount on the orders that you place yourself, not for my class stuff and everything, because I use my commissions and my costs to pay for the materials. But if you're ordering on your own, and I can show you how to do that, you get 20% off. So it does add up if you're somebody who consistently is purchasing big amounts. Right now, our deal is that you pay $100 and you get to pick out $165 worth of product. Plus, you don't pay shipping or GST on this order. So you're getting at least $65 plus $16.50 for shipping plus $9 for GST. Like, all of that adds up. You're probably getting at least $200 in goodies for only $100. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can chat with me later, or you can also, if you're an online person and you just kind of prefer to do things yourself, you can go to my website, learnerbonus.stampinup.net, and you're able to, I put that at the bottom of the screen, you're able to just click the join option at the top of the page, and it will guide you through how to shop for your starter kit. And then as long as you're a demonstrator on my team, then you'll get that 20% discount, and you'll get some other fun things like getting to participate in my monthly team meetings and things that Stamping Up offers as well. So it's just an option. I love having you guys all as my customers, and I'm more than happy to continue that, but I like sharing a deal, and I would feel remiss if I didn't offer that to you guys, especially with the holidays coming up, because maybe a few people are looking to buy you a gift, and you could just say, well, actually, I'd really like to start out as a demonstrator, so can you pitch in a few dollars and I'll pick myself out some goodies and, make your money go a little further. So that's one announcement. The second announcement that I have is very exciting. So I don't know if you guys have seen some posts popping up. I only briefly did one, but about this Eden's Garden Suite. So these were just a couple samples that Stamping Up had posted online. But here is the official flyer, if you will, just kind of outlining the whole collection. So I want to just kind of highlight some of the parts and show them to you in real life. So we have a stamp set and dies. So this would be the Eden's Garden stamp with just some wonderful kind of heartfelt sayings. And then there are coordinating dies that go with the set as well. And I really feel like if you liked the dies and not the stamp, you don't need to buy them both. You do save 10% if you buy both, but just as a heads up, if you're somebody who's kind of just working out your budget and stuff here, the dies are so versatile, and then you can also add in these stamps. And these are some of our new line of photorealism stamps, so you can see just the depth in them. Just one stamp gives you so many different layers, and it just is stunning when you actually put it onto a project. So this is the stamp set and the dies. These guys are going to be available come January 4th all the way through to June. You'll be able to order this bundle. You'll get more ideas of what to do with it. So it will be in the catalog. However, the coordinating products, which are the designer series paper, cotton paper, and gems, these are only while supplies last right now. So if any of them appeal to you, I really, really encourage you to buy them now, because we ran out of things like the Butterfly Bijou early release. If you remember that, we had the beautiful stamp and dies that carried over, but that paper ran out super fast. And I have seen so many people playing with this paper because it's perfect not only for just an everyday card, but it actually kind of really fits with a nice Christmas greenery theme as well. So hopefully you can see it is a specialty paper. There's a side that has some gold embellishment in it, and then the matted side has just a great pattern too. So the pack isn't this big. I've been playing and prepping for classes, one of which is tonight's class, where we're doing one project with this suite. And so I've kind of combined all my extras. So you might be missing a few patterns as I'm flipping through because I've used them up. But it's a gorgeous set. If you want it, I do suggest buying it now and buy a couple packs because, like I said, this is good through to June. And so you'll get so many more ideas of what to use that bundle for, but you won't be able to get your hands on the paper anymore. And then the other paper is cotton paper. So we had cotton paper years and years ago, and it's so delicate. It's almost like really expensive tissue paper, I guess, if you're going to look at it that way. But here's just a few scraps. We're going to use it on one of tonight's projects. So I'm going to give you a couple ways that you can use it, but there's so many more out there, and I'll be doing some show me how it's done probably later about it. So it's very soft and kind of silky. One side is very smooth and one side has kind of a rougher cotton feel. So you can do multiple things with this, and I'll show you that in a second. And then when I ordered the suite, the gems weren't available. So I have ordered them. They just haven't arrived yet. But they're really stunning. They're kind of this blue diamond teardrop, and then two different sizes of rhinestones in, they say cherry cobbler, but it kind of looks like almost like a copper cherry cobbler. Like it's just very, very subtle, the red in there, and it just blends perfectly. If you don't own these ones, another gem set that goes really nicely is the gilded gems or the champagne rhinestones. Those will all fit really beautifully when you're playing with this, but they are in stock now. So it's just on the way for me. So yeah, I am really excited about those products because I think we'll have a lot of fun playing with them. So without further ado, let's do some playing. So I did promise you guys we're going to do some Christmas cards tonight. When I was playing with this suite though, I wanted to show you an everyday card because the bundle's carrying on to the spring and the winter. So I wanted to show you how you can make an everyday card, but I'm also going to show you how to make this same design into a Christmas card. Okay, so here's the card we're making. If you have the little kit, you will have all sorts of little pieces. We'll let Nathan get the door. And so let's just do a little run through here, okay? So what I've done to prep myself is I have a card base of soft succulent, and this one is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, and I've put a score mark at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to put a little piece of basic vanilla in there because I like something to write on. So we're going to go ahead and add that right now so it's out of our way. This is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. And you can use any sort of flat adhesive to attach that to your project. And that will just go straight on the inside. Now you can certainly decorate this piece with any extra scraps from the paper, or maybe you want to stamp something in here later. But I usually just like to leave this plain and kind of open-ended so you can do whatever you want with it later. Now the next piece that we can go ahead and add to the front is this evening evergreen shadow that you see in the back. So that one, same as the vanilla, it's going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, but I'm popping it up on dimensionals because I do want it to stand out just a little bit from the rest of the card, and it just kind of pops the shadow look out. Okay, so just go ahead and add a few dimensionals on the back, and then we can add this to your card. There we go. Okay, so that goes to the front, like so. Now, here comes some fun parts. Okay, so we're actually going to not add anything more to the card front at the moment because we need to play with our cotton paper. So hopefully you can tell there's quite a difference between kind of the feel of the cotton paper and the feel of the cardstock. They're both soft succulent, but they have a lot of differences, which is really fun when you start playing. So I am going to do a little stamping on this just because I want to show you one thing that you can do, but you do not have to do this. If you can see on my sample, I didn't. So I'm just trying to show you something else that you can do. You don't need to do it to finish this card. So this is the soft succulent cotton paper with the evening evergreen ink, and I've just taken all 4 of the little flowers from this set, and I'm gonna just ink them all up and just stamp them very lightly. So I'm not pushing really hard. I just want a really subtle look on my card, and you don't even have to go all the way around because you can see over here I'm covering that section up. Okay, so I forgot to mention, if you're stamping, make sure you're not stamping on the glossy side because that will wipe off right away unless you're using Stays-On ink. The cottony kind of sticky side will be your friend for this technique. However, it still doesn't absorb ink as much as we are used to with a cardstock. So just with a Kleenex, go ahead and just dab on top just in case there's any ink that hasn't dried. You can also just leave this, overnight and let it dry and stuff, but we're going to keep working, and you can see I am coming away with some color. So this is just adding to that kind of lightening background technique. So I've got a little bit of color off. That's probably good. Now you're probably looking at my nice, flat piece of paper and saying, oh, well, what'd you do to it? This is where you get to have a little fun. Can't mess this part up. Just squish her up as tiny as you can because you want every little crease in there. There, you got this nice little ball. And then you can slowly open it up. Just be careful not to rip it. You will barely see the stamping that I've done. It was just something I was playing with. If I really wanted to see the stamping, I'll probably have to use like a darker ink and stuff. I use the green and it kind of blends in, but you can sort of see some of these flowers, and they do add to the card project. Okay, so here we go. We've got nice texture. This can now be attached to my card. However, I don't need to stress about attaching every little piece of it. All I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a few pieces of adhesive into the middle of my card because I actually kind of want the edges to be loose. I don't want them to have to be stagnant. So I'm just putting adhesive onto that base, and then you do want this kind of as flat as possible. So maybe just kind of spread her out a bit. But this can now go into the middle and start flattening. There you go. So you've got quite a bit of life to it right now. Once you start putting the little embellishments on, it's not going to matter, okay? So I do have all my edges nice and loose because that's fun. And if you want, you could always kind of just bend a corner and give it just a little bit of character, however you want. Squish her a bit. But I just kind of thought that's kind of fun to be able to do just because we don't usually do that. Now to decorate, I have cut a little piece of designer series paper, and this would be, let me see, sorry, 2 inches. There, this is why I have a ruler. 2 inches long by 3 3/4. And that was because this piece here was 3 3/4 by 5. I didn't tell you that. This guy, we're gonna put right on this edge here. You do want adhesives in all 4 of those corners. So go ahead and get him ready. Because this is going to kind of flatten down the cotton paper under it and hold it in place a little bit for you, okay? And it's going to be slightly longer than your cotton, even though originally we cut them the same, but once you've scrunched this all up, you lose a little. And that's okay because then some of these edge adhesives are going to attach to the base layer underneath. Okay, so just kind of go over it a bit. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect, just as close to it as possible. And then I cut a strip from the Metallics DSP pack. So it comes in like a gold, champagne, and almost like a copperish color. And I'm just going to cut that in a 1/4 inch strip and attach it as kind of a buffer in between the 2 colors. If you don't own this gold, then using a strip of the Evening Evergreen would tie in beautifully as well. I'm just trying to kind of really highlight the gold in the leaves. So this was 3 3/4 inches tall as well. Okay, so there's my nice little buffer. Now let's do some embellishments, okay? So what I have cut in the kit already is a few of the die cuts, and then if you own the set, you can follow along and cut out a little flower. I've just stamped on a scrap piece of paper for myself with Evening Evergreen, and I'm gonna have to sit here and fussy cut this out. Or it's a really versatile set. So if you don't own this one, just grab any flower that you have, like a poinsettia or anything, and put it in this position. Okay, so let me show you these dies here. This loop-de-loop guy, I cut it out and then I chopped it in half so that from each full piece, I end up getting 2 archways. That's what I'm calling them, 2 little archways. And I'm gonna attach that to my project. I do want these up on dimensionals, and some of these leaves are just nice and fat. You can hide your dimensional in there. You don't need them all the way around the project, just enough so that, you know, a few different points are connecting to your card. Here we go. So this guy is just going kind of up in this top section, like so. And my next feature would be this gorgeous sentiment piece here. So if you own some gold embossing powder, I'm going to show you how you can emboss on there. If you don't, this also just looks gorgeous as a decor piece. So you don't actually have to have a sentiment on here. This is just if you want. So I did promise you I'm going to show you how to turn this card into a Christmas card. So we're going to put a Christmas sentiment on there. I have chosen just a little season's greetings right here from the Time of Giving set. If you have anything that says Merry Christmas or, you know, Happy Holidays or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can use that instead. So because we're going on a metallic foil, one thing that you really want to have in your collection is this little embossing buddy, which is kind of a paper sack with powder, baby powder or something in it. And it will just kind of remove any sort of a sticky residue from like your fingers or anything that the embossing powder might be tempted to stick to. So I've rubbed that on this now so that when I emboss, the only place that's going to get the embossing powder on it is where my Versamark letters are. Okay, so I'm using our Versamark sticky ink, and I've stamped it to the left-hand side here because, of course, my flower is covering the right. And then with my gold embossing powder, I like to kind of either have a tray, or if you don't have one of these old embossing trays, just grab yourself a plate or a bowl or something. But then your embossing powder is not escaping everywhere. Okay, tap, tap, tap with your fingers. And then you can see only the sentiment is embossed. So this part's going to get a little loud, and unlike cardstock where you can go rather close to the paper, you're going to want to keep your distance because this metallic paper will respond to the heat and kind of bend if you're too close. So I'm going to, sorry, I think I have to do this off screen. My cord doesn't, maybe it does. We'll see. I pause there for a second because I'm further away. It's taking forever. But if I hold this up here, maybe. No. Okay, I'll put it back down. But you can see these last letters, they're kind of getting really shiny, and these letters over here are still grainy, so that means they're not done. So I have to keep going until all of them are shiny, but because I'm so far away, it's going to take a little bit longer. There we go. Sorry, my cord only reaches so far. There we go. Okay, and then you do see it's kind of bubbled up a little bit. So that's where I just throw a block on top of it for a couple seconds while I kind of reset. And that gives me time to kind of clean up my embossing powder and whatnot before getting back to this. Once it's dry, you can also just take your bone folder and very gently kind of fold it the opposite direction. So there we go, season's greetings. We're going to put this guy up on dimensionals 2. And I like to use some of the border pieces here because this gives me a nice strong perimeter and something, oh, I don't have scissors. Here we go. Something for the metallic paper to kind of be held in place with. So this piece is going right across the bottom of my arch, like so. Okay, so then I mentioned that for this card, I sat down and I stamped this, and then I kind of sat here and fussy cut around, so you'll have to do that. For my Christmas card, instead of the evening evergreen, I used real red or cherry cobbler. So this one is cherry cobbler. If you want kind of a lighter poinsettia look, then you'll use real red. And I blinged it up with a few of these gilded gems because I thought, hey, that's just really beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this just over here. So I want the flower popped up on dimensionals, but not the sections that are on top of this tag. So that means what I'm going to do is put a little bit of tape on the tag so the flower attaches to it. And in a couple different areas here, I'm just going to attach a couple different dimensionals so that the flower can attach to those and stay on the same level as everything else. Okay. So here we go. I don't want things at wonky angles. There we go. So there's my flower. It's beautiful. I love it. And I thought, hey, I really like these little leaves, so how can I use them? So I just cut myself out 2 evening evergreen and 1 soft succulent. I'm going to just take a little glue dot and put it onto the bottom of it, if it will attach. There we go. And tuck this just under my leaves. Okay, so 1 soft succulent, 1 evening evergreen. You can put these wherever you want. There you go. And then I stuck one out the bottom too, just because it was fun. You might have trouble if you're putting this one in an envelope with this piece, so you might have to kind of put it further inside if you want this one to be in an envelope. So we'll do that on this card here. Tucked him further in so that this bottom part will go in an envelope. So there, see, I told you I'd make Christmas cards. So Christmas version, everyday version, same materials. You can use the exact same measurements. The only difference was your sentiment and the ink color of your chosen flower. Okay, but everything else is the same, and it's a really fun way to add texture to your project without you actually having to have an embossing folder. That being said, these cotton papers, they hold the shape from the embossing folders beautifully. So I can't wait to play with that as well because they get so detailed and they're just really, really pretty. So there's card number 1. Again, I realize that some of you may be just kind of playing catch up. Some of you may be watching and trying to cut all the pieces out at the same time. But I am going to keep going. Just for those of you who have the kits and are ready to go, you can always watch this again and send me any questions and whatnot. I'll also post pictures of these in the comments tonight, and so you'll have them to kind of refer to. And if you're watching the replay, you just hit pause right now. Okay, so there's card number 1 using the Eden's Garden Suite. And I have to reset. Okay, card number 2 is this cutie here. Because, and I don't know if some of you know this, because over the weekend, Facebook decided that it disapproved of every event or business post from Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. So it deleted all of my events and everything. So I have a class coming up. It's called Christmas is Going to the Dogs. And that is being held on Tuesday. Where's my phone? The 21st, I think. It's 2 Tuesdays from now. So, 23rd. There we go. So Tuesday the 23rd. And we're going to be making projects all centered around this stocking suite. Let me grab the set for you because I should have had that. Maybe I'm using it for something. Love what my craft room is. Okay. I don't know. Anyways, it's a set. Oh, here it is. There we go. This little guy, the sweet little stockings. So the whole class is centered around pet themed cards. So we've got a dog and a cat and a little gerbil. And we're going to make lots of fun projects with that. A couple will be some feature kind of fun folds and stuff. I'll just give you a taste. I have a few kits left if people want to come. This one is one of the cards we're making. Isn't it cute? I love it. Okay, that's all you get to see. Okay, so that's one of the cards, and then I have a couple other fun cards. But I thought, hey, we can just play with this one tonight together too. So, in your little envelope, you should have some of these pieces. So this is the designer series paper. It has nothing to do with the actual stamp, but we're going to use both the stamp and the DSP of the class just because they coordinate so beautifully. And make sure to get everything out of your envelope because there should be a little berries and holly leaf and a bow, all of that. You're going to need to do a little bit of fussy cutting. I know, you love me. But let's work on assembling the main part of the card first. So, this one's a pretty simple one. If you actually like fussy cutting, you can kind of just get quite a few dogs and cats out of the paper and make a bunch of these. So my base is cherry cobbler. I have cut it at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. On the inside, because you know me, I like something to write on. I just have a piece of basic white that is 4 by 5 1/4, and we're gonna throw that in the inside right now. So it's out of our way, but you have something to write on when you need it. There we go. That's going inside of your card. Oh, whoops, I forgot. I cut you 2 pieces because I'm so nice. Okay, this is the bumblebee paper. You can also use crushed curry. So I lied. This one is the 4 by 5 1/4. The white is 3 3/4 by 5. So put one of your yellow pieces in first because sometimes you just want to dress a card up, and I think for Christmas cards, I do like taking that extra step just because they're so fun. And people really appreciate them. I think people love getting Christmas and birthday cards. Like, they just really appreciate the effort. Okay, so you could write on this yellow. It's okay, but it's kind of usually nicer to write on white. So I stuck that in there as well. Okay. On the front of your card, this is where your second piece of crushed curry or bumblebee will come into play. I think the suite talks about using bumblebee, so that's what I used, but crushed curry will also tie in very nice. Okay, so this one, just like we did on the other card, we're going to pop it up on dimensionals because that really brings it to life. And I needed a new sheet of dimensionals, I think. There we go. So put a few of those around. There we go. This one has popped up. Now, the other fun thing about the paper is there's so many different designs. So I honestly probably put 3 or 4 different designs in the packages. You just get to kind of flip them over, see what one you like. So this one here has some stars. This one has stripes. I think there's a red one with some snowflakes or something like that, but lots of fun stuff. This is another cute paper that you could kind of cut your little corgis and kitties out of. But I did have to just pick and choose. The problem with double-sided paper is I always want every single side. All right, this one would be a 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece here. And then for my little sentiment, that's this tag here. In the Sweet Little Stockings set, ooh, you're falling out. There we go. There's this large banner piece. So what I did was I cut this out with basic white, and then I just chopped it off because I didn't want this whole long piece taking up my whole card, and I didn't want, this would be beautiful for a card that's standing upright, but I wanted this focal piece on the side here. Okay, so I just chopped it kind of to where I was happy. If you want the exact measurement, it was at 3 inches. Okay, so from tip to edge is 3 inches. Before I attach it, you do want to stamp. So there's lots of fun stamps in the set, but I really thought because these kind of guys are little friends, I wanted the Together is the Merriest Place to Be from the Merriest Moments stamp set here. Okay, so there's great stamp sets all over the place, but that's what I'm going to use with the Old Olive ink. So just tap, tap, tap. Gorgeous. And we're going to pop this one up on dimensionals to attach it to the card. And I put this just up in the top right hand corner, not on the yellow, just lined up to the designer series paper edge. Okay, and then to decorate this one, I have cut out a little bow from the die set, and the easiest way to attach that would be with a glue dot. Okay, so just grab glue dot, put it right in the center of your bow, and that guy goes right under your sentiment here. And then to attach the holly, you're gonna love me. So you can use a glue dot to attach this part. I know it's so tiny, but it's really cute. Okay, so a little glue dot goes to the edge, and then you do want to pop this up. So we're going to grab some of your dimensionals, but you need to like take a dimensional and cut it in half for it to fit on here. So let me grab some scissors. You love me yet? I know, we're doing a little bit more fussy cutting today than I usually ever do. There we go. 1 and 2. Perfect. Okay, so there we go. Little holly leaf, some berries. Now I will cut these out too. So I'm gonna grab my dog, and you don't have to go right up to the edge of it, just roughly go around it, okay? It doesn't, the paper and the image itself don't need much help. You just need to kind of roughly give them a white border. Give yourself a little extra space for those lights. But nothing fancy here, just chop around the space. A little close to that light. There's one. And then my little cat in the box. Just reminds me of like a magician's magic trick. Seems like the proper color scheme for it. You don't even have to do anything fancy here. Just cut around a bit. There we go. And then my one last thing is I might just do a little notch on the edge of these ribbons to kind of make them stand out a little bit. There. Okay, so you've got these two guys cut out. The first one I would suggest attaching is your dog. And we just want dimensionals onto this green area. So just on the left-hand side of the pup. And then because his tail is also going down there, you can kind of skip over here and add some down the bottom. There we go. So he just kind of rests right up against your sentiments. Did kind of want him covering. There we go. Okay, so there's puppy. And now the kitty, of course, we want this little area. So you can either put the dimensionals onto the left-hand side of the cat, or if you're worried, just put some on the green. There we go. And if you really want to be sure that the cat is kind of attached to the dog, then go ahead and just put little bit of tape kind of on this right-hand side. You don't have to, but it will attach your cat to the dog here. Okay, and then those two are cute little friends. Like so. There. And if you want, you can add gems or anything you want. Some rhinestones and whatnot, but I did really think that these two embellishments kind of tied things together nicely. If you don't have the dies and you're trying to do this at home, you could put 3 little rhinestones at the bottom. That would also be beautiful. So yeah, 2 different cards because of the paper, but still super cute and very easy to do if you're somebody who likes fussy cutting. Just grab that whole sheet of paper and cut out all the cats and dogs that you can. So there you go. So there's one little card that you can use the Sweet Little Stockings bundle for. And then if you're interested in coming to my class in 2 weeks, let me know. Like I said, I have a couple kits left, probably about 6 or 7, I think. And so the kits are $25 or they're free if you place a $60 order at that class. Can't be combined with this class. But they'll be fun because they're adorable. And if you're somebody who doesn't have that bundle, that would be a great use of your $60 order because then you can recreate the projects. Okay, so here you go. Project number 2. There. Okay, hopefully I have not overwhelmed you because I have one more. And it's fun. Okay, so this one is kind of a fad that's been going on lately. I'm not going to sit here and go through all the measurements because I'm going to do a show me how it's done video on this technique soon. So if you don't have this kit, then you'll be able to watch that video later. Okay, but this is called a Pinwheel Tower card. And I'm using the Whimsy and Wonder suite. I'm using pieces from it all over the place, and then I'm just throwing in a few odds and ends. So let me show you how to make one of these cuties. Okay. So in your kit, maybe don't take everything out right away. Otherwise you'll lose things. You need this piece here that that has 4 different rectangle squares and 1 little strip. So this is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, scored at 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So with your bone folder, you're going to want to fold and burnish on all of those lines. Go. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So one little trick when you're attaching this is, instead of trying to sit here and have this lined up perfectly while you're standing, lay it down. The piece that has your adhesive strip on it, fold it over to the middle, take the strip off, and now fold this piece over top of it. Okay, so I'm going to just say that once more. The adhesive strip it just rests right in the middle of your square. Take your other piece over here, fold it over, and now you have a perfect rectangle box. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the base, and then I will be here and like I'll slowly go through decorating it, but then you have the base. Okay, so this guy here we need to add a lot of adhesive to right now. So you can use anything you want, but I do really suggest tape because you can do this all at the same time. So every single side you need to do this too. You need to put adhesive on every single side all the way around. So it does not matter where you start. It's all going to be the same. Okay, so I've done 2. I'll do 2 more. All of them need the same amount of adhesives. Like so. Okay, so all the way around my tower, this is the center part right here. They all need adhesive. Okay, now we're going to work on attaching the 4 pinwheel features. So in your envelopes, you should find 4 pieces of cardstock. You can use any color of cardstock that you prefer. I just thought it was fun to use colors that were featured in the paper. So I've got Misty Moonlight, Blushing Bride, and Mint Macaron. These 4 all measure the same. They're 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, and it does not matter right now which one you start with. However, I'm going to suggest that perhaps you start just like I do. My front is kind of intended to be this pink one. Okay, so I'm going to start with Blushing Bride. I'm going to flatten this guy out and take the adhesives off the right hand side. Okay, we'll just wait for everyone to do that. This is flat, so you see 2 sections right now. Take the adhesives off the right hand side. Take your paper and line it up to that middle mark. You're not going into the other section. It's just getting attached on that last, like that little section here. Okay, so you've got a whole bunch of space that has nothing on it. So here is number 1. gonna go a little slower just because I want to make sure you guys get this part. So now you can flip it to the next side. Okay, so I've taken this piece and I'm turning it over, and we're gonna work on the next panel, which would now be the left-hand side. Okay, so take those two strips off. And because we want this in like a pinwheel motion, we want this piece butting up to the pink next to it. Okay, so you're holding your pink up or you're laying it down, doesn't matter, but you want this piece now attaching to this left-hand side. And if you're gonna hold it up, that means it's butting up to the pink. Okay, so that when you're rotating, you go 1, 2, and then we'll keep going. Okay, so left-hand side, we're gonna keep rotating. And for my card, I did a pattern of color blue, color blue. So my next one is going to be my mint macaron for my card. Okay, so I'm now rotating that down, and I'm going to do my left-hand side again. We only did the right for the first one. Now we're doing left. So adhesive off the left-hand side. Put your paper on. Make sure it butts up nicely to the blue in front of it. And then this is a good time to check, like, hold it up. Are they going in all different directions? That means you're doing good, because we don't want to keep going if we've made a mistake. Okay, so up, right, down. That means our last piece, without having to take off the adhesive yet, we'll know it needs to go to the left here. Okay, so we've got this guy pushed down, and we're going to take the adhesive off this left-hand side piece. Put this on. And to double check, make sure that it butts up. So when I look down upon it, I should have pieces going just like a pinwheel. Up, right, down, left, any way that I looked at it. Okay? If you've made a mistake somewhere, try and gently pull them off. And if it's super stuck because you've used tape, you can also take a heat tool. Or I can try and help you after class if you send me a picture looking downward on what your card is like. Okay? But if you've got this base, then that's great. That means you're ready to decorate. Okay? So I'm going to start with my pink, like this. And I'm just going to go through how I've decorated it. But you have a whole envelope of all the same pieces, papers, whatnot. You can do anything you want. If you want to mix it up, you go for it, because these are your cards. And I would be quite interested to see what you end up doing too. Okay, so for this piece, I needed one of my silver trees. I need my striped silver paper. And I need presents. See, I didn't make you fussy cut these. I cut you presents. Okay, so they'll all look different because, you know, the paper's full of different patterns, but the whole point is you should have 2 presents of some sort. So yes, this striped piece, I am going to use flat adhesive of some sort and put that onto my paper. And this, the designer papers measure 2.5 by 4 for all of them. You just pick which pattern you like. Okay, so there's my stripes. Oh, and you should have 4 of these white strips that are embossed with the wintry embossing folder. Okay, so these are going onto our left-hand side here, just to offset the card a little bit. You could use plain white as well, but I thought it was just really pretty to emboss with that wintry embossing folder. It's not part of the suite, but it ties in very nicely. Okay, so I've got that. And you can also attach these at the end. You don't have to do them now. But for my tree, what I love about this tree is it's got some fat parts. So that's where we're going to put dimensionals. So all the way down the tree, in the bottom here. Put some dimensionals so that tree stays attached. There we go. Okay, so there's my silver tree. This goes just on the right-hand side here. And then to put my presents on, there should be like one larger present and one smaller present. So my larger present, I'm putting dimensionals on the back on the left-hand side. And that will nicely go up by the tree. You do want that up from the bottom because remember we're going to now add this little present, and that's going to be on the bottom here. So this one, I'm actually just going to put tape on the back and let it kind of float simply by being attached to the tree and the present that are behind it. Okay, so I put a little strip of tape right here, and this present can go right up here. And it'll just float up in the air. Okay, so that is section 1. Once again, maybe a good time to just take a quick screenshot if you need it, or I'll post pictures in the comments too. But moving on to the next little piece. This one's a little simpler, so we're just going to fold that. Okay, I'm going to need one white piece with snowflakes. I'm going to need my piece with the ornaments. I should have a mint macaron frame. These are not from the suite. Where are they from? I will post that. I think they're the color and contour dies. Let me see. Yes, here we go. So these are the color and contour dies. It would be the second smallest one here that I'm using. And those are in the main catalog. Okay, so I need that. And then I need a snowflake of some sort. So some of you will have the iridescent white snowflake, or some of you will have a really nice snowflake that I've cut out from one of our sets with kind of a silvery white paper. So either way, it doesn't matter which one you have, but those are the 4 things you'll need for this section. So once again, let's attach our papers to start. So our designer paper and our white wintry paper. And feel free to flip papers around, use whatever you want. It's kind of fun to see maybe what I haven't used for you. But I wanted the silver accents, so that's why it's all this side. There we go. 2, 3. So I know this one's a lot more work, and you may end up just keeping it because you're like, I put so much effort into this, not giving it to anyone, and that's fine. But I really wanted to give you a wow card still for the holidays. So, okay, so there's our 2 pieces for your mint macaron frame. We'll pop him up on dimensionals. just goes right here. And your snowflake. So if you have the iridescent one, you'll notice there's not a lot of places to put an adhesive. So we're just going to use that center spot in the middle of the snowflake. The other snowflake is a little bit more forgiving, can probably put a couple dimensionals. But here's my iridescent one. He just fits right like that. So very simplistic, but super stunning when you look at the entirety of the project. Okay. Once again, great time to maybe take a screenshot or look for a photo. We're gonna move to this one here. This one is probably the most detailed piece. It's not super challenging, but you'll be fine. Okay, so we need the pink snowflake background. We need one of the white winter pieces. We need that same frame, but I've cut it out of basic white and embossed it with the textile embossing folder just to give it a subtle little texture. And then there should be a strip of mint macaron, which I'll show you how to cut. A few trees, 2 of them in silver foil, and one of them using one of the papers from the Whimsy and Wonder Suite. And then the last thing that I have cut out is this tiny little stitched circle. So if you're wondering where I got that, that's from this little die here that it's kind of like the peekaboo dies. I forget what they're called, but there's rectangles and circles. So if I run this through my Big Boss, I get 3 stitch circles that are large and 3 stitch circles that are small that I don't need for the project that I'm actually making this for. So I have pre-prepped a bunch, of peekaboo windows and then saved all the little pieces. And then in that gorgeous Whimsy and Wonder stamp, there's a little word called joy. So I have stamped that in mint macaron for my project. But you can put anything you want. Okay, so let's build this one. Same background, we just need some adhesives for those 2 papers. I really like how the mint macaron and the blushing bride, they just complement each other, but they contrast so much so you can clearly see how they both are working. I like it. It's good. There we go. Now to decorate, I'm going to start with my frame, and that gets popped up on dimensionals. You don't need to emboss, but I just find that it just added enough to this project to kind of take away the stark white, and it almost looks like snow in the back. So here we go. That goes right in the middle here. And our next job is going to be to attach the trees. Okay, so you should have 3 trees. The one that you're going to start with is the colored one. So all I'm going to do is put a dimensional in the middle of my tree. Don't worry about attaching the tree trunks yet. And this one is going to go as high up on the square as possible. Now you should have 2 silver trees. Doesn't matter, one is big, one is small. It doesn't matter which one you use first. Same idea, but you're just going to stagger them. Okay, so we're going to just go with one on the left. It's kind of slightly lower. And then one on the right that is going to be a lot lower because we want different levels. Okay, so now because we don't want these kind of flailing around, we are going to take a little piece of tape and we're putting this tag down here. So right where we would be putting that, we're going to just put this tape across, and that will help the tree trunks to just stay down, which will be good. You also can use that same adhesive to attach our mint macaron piece here. Okay, so this guy, how large are you? I think I just like quickly cut it and it's 2 3/4, but you'll just have to kind of eyeball this. I cut one side at this angle, see where it's sitting, and then cut the other side the opposite angle. Okay, and then the fun part about this die is it's got these little gaps kind of on the side. So if you're really, really gentle, you can pull this down and actually tuck it in behind the frame pieces. So it's kind of fun. My tree here, I probably could have put up a little bit more. See if I can pull him. There you go, buddy. It's okay if your trees are overlapping. There. Okay. And then my little joy dot, I'm putting one dimensional on the back of him and putting it right in the center of this. Okay. So there we go. Really, really cute, but really subtle at the same time. So it's nice and fun. You can do whatever you want with colors and whatnot, but I'm just gonna fix this tree. Put one more dimensional behind you. There you go. There, he's happier. Okay, we're almost done. I know this one's a little challenging. So the last pieces, I'll leave this up on the screen for a sec. The last pieces that you should have are a piece of plain white, a scrap piece with something on it, a strip of silver foil, and one last wintry piece. Ooh. Pardon me. Okay, when it gets so dark, I'm tired already. I definitely almost put the kids to bed at like 6 o'clock the first day after daylight savings. So I was like, oh, it's so dark, like you should go to bed. And Nathan's like, Lauren, it's only 6. Like they can stay up. Okay, so flip that. Flip that. This was the little piece that I thought, hey, if you wanted to write something, it would be perfect for you to do. Okay, so we're going to start with our piece of white and add him to the project first. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my wintry piece just to get it out of my way. There. All right, now to finish this one off, I'm going to take this fun little pattern piece and put it on the left-hand side of the white. So, and then I'm going to take a strip of the foil. If you have this skinny, like 1/8 inch tape from Soup Wang or something, this one's a little easier to use. You can also use liquid glue. But don't tell, this isn't a Stampin' Up! Tape, but it makes my life a lot easier. There we go. Tuck him in. And, oh, I made that a little long. Oops, that's okay. I will just trim it because it's a little long. Right there. Perfect. There. So lots and lots of work for this project. I'll just flip to a different page. Maybe that one. Those are probably the more complicated ones you'd want to see. Lots of work for that project, but I hope that you enjoyed it still. I like to kind of treat you guys to some fun Christmas projects, and we'll definitely have some next month as well. But on the topic of Christmas, I would like to encourage you guys to watch the page. I'm going to have signups for a Christmas card swap as well as a Christmas 3D swap. But we are capping numbers at 20. So if you're interested in participating, those will be posted later this week so that you have multiple weeks to organize them. They will have to be at my house before I'll put the dates and stuff. But basically my intent is that everyone, when they're coming to pick up their class kits, they'll also receive a goodie bag of all their swaps. So you're gonna have to make 2 trips to my house or mail them. But it's that way I can give you, I think it's about 3 or 4 weeks from today to be able to work on those. So keep that in mind. I will have details posting for you. The only rules for like the Christmas card swap is you have to use Stampin' Up! Product. For the cards, we do really prefer if you can use something current or like recent in the last few years, or something very similar to something we have in the catalog, just because the intent is for people to get a lot of ideas and to maybe recreate what you're offering. And so if you're using a set that's from 1995, there's probably no way that we can replicate the beautiful card you've made. But I do realize that not everybody has all the new products and stuff. So I'm hoping that like you have something relatively recent, and I'll post all the details and stuff, but it is definitely like a do your best work kind of thing. You'll want multiple layers, so it's not just a white piece of paper folded in half and stamped Merry Christmas on the front. You don't need to do something this intricate, but the dog card, for instance, like something just a little stepped up, you know, like use some paper or use some stuff like that. And the theme is Christmas. And then the 3D thing is something that we usually do every Christmas, and I've just had so many people saying, I just want my Christmas gifts. So it's basically kind of like a gift exchange. You'll make 20 of a 3D item. This is the one where like we do not care if you use paper that is 10 years old because you're trying to use it up, as long as it's Stampin' Up. Or mostly. Like, I do realize that we don't all have everything Stampin' Up, but try to like do it. In the past we have had people do things like baking and stuff, but because your stuff's gonna be sitting at my house for a few days before people pick it up, I am gonna ask that we don't do that this year. Also, just I think because of COVID, people are a little bit more cautious with that homemade stuff. That being said, I'm not going to say no to our liquor making friend. That's fine, because liquor is, you know, disinfecting all on its own, right? So anyways, I know that sometimes we've had cookies and baked breads and those sorts of things, and they're amazing. But because between the time you drop things off and the time people pick it up, I wonder about the freshness. So I'd encourage you to like just make a little treat box, or buy some like hot chocolates and decorate them, or yeah, make a treat box and put chocolates in it or something like that. You do not have to participate. This is not a requirement. It's just something fun if you want. But that being said, I have one more thing to do with you guys before I let you go. Oh, I forgot to show you this. Okay, so we made this fun little pinwheel card. This was another idea for you that I did at my all-day retreat. So this is a pinwheel card that I used the Painted Christmas suite for. Okay, so I'll put pictures of that one up too. But that's another idea. Same measurements, but just different decor and different paper. So that's one idea. There you go. And this was my front of it. So that's my pinwheel card from our all-day retreat. Okay, before I let you guys go, I've had a lot of fun spoiling you as just thank yous for placing orders. So what I've started to do is every month, no matter if you've placed an order at club, at one of my classes, randomly online, your name gets put in my little bucket when you place an order. And then at club the next month, I'm doing a draw for some prizes for you just as a little thank you for supporting my business. So the first prize that I have is the Painted Love gold vinyl stickers. And the winner, mix these up. Okay, our winner is Jean Monroe. Congratulations, Jean. I'm going to put some tape on that. There we go. Tape on this. So congrats and thank you for your order last month. So there'll be gifts next month too. These are the basic pearl jewels, the large ones. So we don't have strictly large ones anymore. We have like a multi-pack, but they're still good. Okay, prize number 2 is going to Pat Basaraba. Congratulations, Pat. Pat's had a lucky month. She's won a couple other things too. There we go. And then my last prize is the Seasons of Fun stamp set. Now, some of you attended my all-day retreat and you might have gotten it, but that's less than half of you in the bucket. So if you own this one, we will chat and you can pick something else from my retired stash, okay? But if you don't have this one, it is a cute, cute set. So, let's see who's winning. Kelly Lee. Oh, Kelly, you would have won this. Okay, so we'll chat and we'll get you something else because you were at my event. There we go. So that is quite all right. Congratulations to you guys. And for those of you who are ordering next month, there will be another draw and more Christmas goodies because Christmas is super fun. So yeah, I look forward to celebrating with you guys on the second Tuesday of the month next month. If you want a kit, make sure to let me know because like this month I only have 2 left from the whole stash that I've made, and because most of you know it's kind of Christmas already started, but we'll do more Christmas stuff in December. So if you want a kit, make sure to let me know as soon as possible. And hopefully Facebook figures out their event things because I'd like to repost all of that for you. But yes, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you guys had a lot of fun with the projects. I will post pictures of them in the comments and things like this pinwheel card. A full tutorial will be coming. I'm not entirely sure which week, but it will be one of my Show Me How It's Done videos, which are Tuesdays at noon every week. And so I will have a third option for you. You know, here's 2 that you can see, but I'll design one more and I'll give all the measurements from start to finish on how to do that as well. But I hope you guys had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys later. Bye.